What?
Whose car is that out front?
Mine. 1970 Pontiac Firebird, the car I've always wanted, and now I have it. I rule.
Where's the Camry?
I traded it in.
Shouldn't you have consulted me first?
Let me think. No, you never drove it. Have you done something different? You look great.
Where's Jane?
Jane not home.
All right. Let's talk about American Beauty. But first, we should introduce Griffin on this podcast as our guest. First official guest, mind you. You should feel honored.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Griffin. Been friends with these boys for a long time, so happy to be here.
Give us the
Tony Award.
40-minute background.
Right.
Who is Griffin?
I'm a very jealous Scorpio. That's about it.
Oh, you are Scorpio.
Yeah. Whenever I tell people that, they get,
Ooh.
they like back away. I don't know what it is.
Weird. Do you know what's so interesting? I didn't realize you were a Scorpio, but JoJo's also a Scorpio.
I can see that.
Yeah. Now
What
I'm
are
like
you-
kind of like, oh, okay. makes
Drake
sense.
is also a Scorpio, I believe, right? That's like a big thing.
Probably, yeah.
I think his last album, and everyone's like, he's a really emotional rapper. He's a Scorpio.
That's why. It makes
That's
sense.
why. So Scorpio Griffin, he
Mhm.
chose American Beauty
Yes.
because it's one of your favorites, right?
Yes, probably top 5. It might be my favorite. I've seen it, I don't know how many times, but rewatched it last night and still love it.
When was the first time you saw this? Like, how young were you?
I don't know, probably middle school-ish.
Okay.
I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but
It is a weird movie to stumble upon. Like, even the cover is like
Right.
what is going on here? But Jesse and Joe, you've not seen this before, right?
No,
No.
Okay, so I've seen
but
this.
I didn't know what to expect, but
Yeah,
this
so
was
let's get into it then.
I
You want to
expected.
give us your first initial, Joe? Give us your initial impressions and thoughts.
This is like it's not my like typical like murder mystery, but I like to like get deep on movies, and I feel like you can get deep on this movie, so I actually really liked it.
Cool.
Like everyone had an identity crisis.
Mhm.
It's very relatable in a weird way.
Yeah.
Not weird way. It's very relatable.
To which character?
Hold on.
To which-
Like, it's weird. In my opinion, I feel like this movie should be boring, but it's not. It's very the opposite of boring. It's like very exciting, but it's like that's why I think I like it so much. It's like it does a good job of like turning something super boring and into like something that you are engaged in watching. And I don't know. I really like it. Jesse, what did you think about it?
Mixed bag. Well, I'm a Capricorn, so take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, you're a Capricorn?
Yeah. Ooh.
Ugh,
Um,
get out.
I do. It's come up before, like when we watch The Burbs. I oddly love anytime a
Wait,
movie
The
is
Burbs or the Birds?
Burbs.
Burbs. Okay.
Yeah, I'll see if I can relate it to the birds too. But like anything that's centered around where like the neighborhood has any aspect of the movie, like I'm just always fascinated by that concept of like neighbors and like I love meeting neighbors and having like weird neighbors. I don't know why, but great aspect. Not neighbors I'd like to really have in this one, but it
Not even
was
Ricky. Come on.
He seems like who's like the hero of the story.
Yeah, Ricky's fine. Ricky's fine. Other than like if someone was taping me, but whatever. I did like it more than I thought because I thought the Kevin Spacey like high school girl was going to be like the single plot line, which was just a really like
Yeah.
really
It's
yeah
tough
like
at first. It's tough.
yeah like I'm glad that it was a smaller like that there was other storylines and like Joe said like they all were interesting and it was like all people and like going into it I just thought it was that one high school storyline and I was like this one best picture like what it's so
It
it's
gets
just I
crazy.
can't. Yeah, it's so weird.
Do we need to do
Um,
like a Kevin Spacey disclaimer? This was like back in '99.
But I
Yes.
mean, regardless of if I mean Kevin Spacey makes it worse, but like regardless, this
I
is
know.
like a high school girl, like
Yeah.
I know.
And
Was
it
it
wasn't really
really?
clear how old she was, because like Ricky said he
Right.
was 18, but I'm
Mhm.
assuming the
They were
girls
at
were
least
16 or 17.
17, I would assume ish, but
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, well, is this even legal? Like, I don't
Right.
think
well,
it's
I
ethically
read
cool, but like, is
well,
it legal?
I read in the trivia that the girl, what's her name?
Was 12.
Birch. She no, Thora Birch. Oh no,
Thora Birch.
yeah, she was 17, so her mom had to approve of the topless scene. Like her mom had to be there, and they had to like
Okay.
sign something. But she was 17. I was like, that's kind of weird. But I was talking about this last night, and I was like, what I like about it is how they immediately like the girls immediately catch on that the dad's a creep, because I feel like there's so many dads out there who think they're subtle and think they're not creepy, but
Yeah.
most guys they're so obvious. And
he
I like
was-
how they acknowledge that immediately in this.
I like also how one of the lines is there's nothing worse. It's like there's nothing worse in life than being ordinary. And like the start of the movie is just like so plain and like suburban, and then it's like you find out that this dude is just like messed up in the head, and like he's just bored,
Mhm.
and he's
Right.
like, you know what, I'm head over heels in love with this teenage girl, so I'm just not gonna hide it.
Hi, I'm Lester, Janie's dad.
Oh, hi. This is my friend, Angela Hayes.
Okay. Good to meet you. You were also good tonight. Very precise.
Thanks. Yeah, nice to meet you, Angela. Honey. Oh, I am so proud of you. You know, I watched you very closely. You didn't screw up once. Okay, we have to go.
So what are you girls doing now?
Dad, we're going out for pizza.
Oh, really? Do you need a ride? We can give you a ride. I have a car. You want to come with us?
Thanks, but I have a car.
Well, you have a car. Oh, well, that's great. That's great. Because Janie's thinking about getting a car, too, soon, aren't you, honey?
Dad, Mom's waiting for you.
Well, it was very nice meeting you, Angela. Any friend of Janie's is a friend of mine. Well, I'll be seeing you around then.
It's kind of funny. Like, I don't want to jump to the ending yet, but by the ending, like he literally says to the like military neighbor guy that comes over, he's like, like he's like, I don't even, my wife's off screwing this other guy and I don't care. And like, kind of like at that point, like it's a 180 from the beginning. Like he just like is doing his own thing and he doesn't care. Which is
For sure. Which I
arguably
kind
the
of,
opposite of the ordinary, boring suburban life,
and I kind of
And
like
there's a
his-
line there
for it.
where he's like, the marriage is just a front to hide how not ordinary we are.
I feel like it
or-
felt
Right.
good for him to say that out loud to somebody.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. I feel like towards the end there, like, what was his character's name? Lester. Like, I feel like towards
His
the
name
end,
was Lester, too, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
one of my favorite scenes was like, so like Ricky, like he was the only one who actually like kind of, even though he was kind of a creep at the beginning, like he actually was the one who made sense because he kept like talking about like, the bag being beautiful. And then when Lester actually died, he did that like really weird, like head tilt, like look at him. But I think he actually was like, oh, this is beautiful because he looks happy.
Mhm.
He might just died.
Well, I found it so interesting. Like Ricky was really weird with the girls, but he was so normal with Lester. Like the dynamic was weird. Like I really liked Ricky when he was hanging out with Lester, just like smoking weed. They were like fine. They were cool. He seemed cool and like fun. But with the
Mhm.
girls, he was like, I like watching you. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and then like she was into it, and then I
Mhm.
guess she kind of like adapted to it and kind of became, I don't know. She probably
knew what
had
he was
that
doing.
weirdness hidden, and then she was like, "Oh, this is the perfect opportunity for me to be weird with this dude."
Right. And you could tell like he knew what he was doing because the first time you see him and he's recording her basically, or I don't know if it's the first time, it's one of the first times, but she's basically has a fight with her mom, or it might be, I can't remember if it's her dad or her mom, but he's like, you can see it through the recorder basically. And I don't know. I feel like he knew what he was doing because like she had that look about her, like kind of like rebellious. She had like the eye, the eyeliner and like the dark clothes. And I feel like he was like, oh,
He
I
had
can definitely,
angst.
yeah, angst. He's like, oh, I can definitely like persuade this like girl, or I don't know. I feel like he felt ownership over her in a way, but he still liked her. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. I feel like everyone, probably except for Ricky, had a huge identity crisis. Like the mom clearly hated her life. Lester clearly hated her life. Their daughter had like so much angst. Ricky's dad clearly was closeting a lot of things that like, and like the Ricky's mom was just like a shell of a human, like didn't do anything. Like, I feel like everyone just like hated their lives. And Ricky's the only one who's like, yeah, like I deal drugs and I videotape people. And that's I find that beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves it.
So like, I feel like he's the only one who actually like kind of made sense.
For sure.
I don't know.
But he still has the like he hates his home life. Kind of like he's figured out how to like
also
swim in it, but like at the end when he kind of like sees that option of being kicked out, he like doubles down to like get out.
I wrote down a quote that I loved when Kevin Spacey said, "It's a great thing when you realize you still have the ability to surprise yourself. Makes you wonder what else you can do that you forgot about." I was like, that is such a good quote because even when you're like, I don't know how old he is, 40s, if he's like a boring suburban 40-year-old man, like he can still change his life into something he wants it to be, which I was like, I like that. Never get bored.
True.
Right. Because people, they get stuck in a routine and then realize later that what are they doing with their lives?
For sure.
I think the military dad was like perfectly cast. Well, he did a wonderful job as being just like a closeted, deeply loathing, man. This was made in the 90s, so that was super common for that age group. Just because all these guys, were expected to live a certain way, and he just, When you first, this was the first time you watched it, did you suspect it?
I actually had to do a double take. Like when he went back to the garage, like I thought originally he was just going to go kill him because you knew he died.
Yeah.
But then when he kissed him, I was like, wait a minute, is he like just trying to figure out if that's actually true and if he just like sent his son out? But then like it was a little too real, so I was like, wait a minute. But no, I didn't really like suspect that. Did you?
I didn't expect it, but when it happened, I was like, oh, of course.
That's how I felt too. Yeah.
Well, I think it was smart that at the beginning he says, "In a year I'll be dead," because then what Joe said, you think that's the moment where he's gonna die, but it's not.
It was super clever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't really peg him for being closeted though until that moment.
Yeah, because I think right that when that scene first started, I could kind of tell because like how it was shot and like with the rain, I was like, I don't know. I just got that vibe.
No
romance.
Your wife is with another man and you don't care?
Nope. Our marriage is just for show. A commercial for how normal we are when we're anything but. Yes, man, you are shaking. We really ought to get you out of these clothes.
Yeah.
It's okay. You just tell me what you need.
Yeah, but I didn't. It was definitely it was like shot like a romantic scene, but I didn't expect it at all until I saw that scene. But
I thought he was gonna kiss him and then he'd like shoot him in the stomach, like while he was hugging him, kind of deal. You know, so you'd see like as they're kissing, his like he's just like, oh,
I thought he was
Mhm.
gonna get
that was
stabbed.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
We're sad.
While we're talking about Lester's death, was his wife gonna kill him?
That's what they lead you to think. I mean, that's what I thought the first time.
That's what I think. I thought that was because, like, I mean, she had that whole thing. She was going to the gun range, and then in the car, she said, like, what was she? She was saying something to herself, like,
I will not be the victim.
I won't. Yeah, like
Mhm.
she feels like she was victimized, and like Lester was the problem. So I'm assuming that's because, like, originally I'm like, oh, is she gonna like kill herself, or is she gonna go kill Lester? Because you know he dies. So like, but like if they both were gonna do it, I don't know. I just was trying to figure out if she was like actually sad, because she actually seemed like legitimately sad when she walked in and she saw him dead.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, which is weird,
But if she
because
was
I-
going to kill him, then why would she be sad?
right?
Right. I think she had the idea to do it, but then once she saw, like, I don't know if she would have gone through with it. She might have, but
Mhm.
you know, then realizing the loss, like, I don't know if she could have pulled the trigger.
I mean, yeah, and you could do it and still be sad, you know, like that you did it, or like that it's
Oh,
come
yeah.
to this kind of thing. But I mean, the movie really dances around a lot of this. If like, obviously, people are like super complicated, and there's a part of us that like maybe it's the feeling of wanting to be something else or something, and like that not being ordinary is a good thing, and it almost glorifies that, which I think is why people like watching it, because it kind of like glorifies the parts that you might not feel good about. Some of those are maybe questionable to glorify in a movie, but like that idea, and then just the like, I don't know, even at the ending like that, where it's like she's sad but happy but didn't want, you know, like you're still left in that, like that there's still all these people and there's still all these struggles. Like,
Well, I think that like this ending was interesting because like a lot of stories, they just like, you know, tie up the story and like everyone either is dead or lives happily ever after. And in this one, like they had that whole scene at the end where like they had the voiceover and like the old people hands, and they were just trying to like talk about like they always had this like identity crisis, but then like laced throughout the entire thing, they were talking about beauty. And then at the end, they brought you back to that, almost like in a reflective way, where they're like, now you think about what your life, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
they almost wanted you as the viewer to reflect on that, even though everyone's lives were still fucked, you know, messed up.
I thought it was nice that he ultimately dies happy. Like, he doesn't see it coming, and he, you know, he said he was doing great to the girl, and he finally like realized his potential, and was, you know, it was also nice that he didn't take this girl's virginity. Like, he realized, like, I'm not going to corrupt this teenage girl. And then, you know, I was a little nervous at first that he was going to go through with it, but he ends up being like a genuinely good guy, and he dies, you know, happy.
Which he does
So
have
that
that vibe throughout. Like I feel like he is like a good person. Like you could tell throughout. Like he does these weird things, but I feel like deep down, like he seems like a good person. Like
Yeah.
like at some point he was like, I was thinking like the whole movie, I was like, I could never imagine the parents like Lester and I can't remember the wife's name, but together, like at some point, they're just so different. Like I can't even imagine them when they were happy, like happily married. I just can't picture it.
I think
But
the only bits of that we get to see is like at the end where she's like on
Mhm.
like what looks like a carnival ride or something.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it kind of works. I don't know. It's crazy.
The
It's a crazy movie.
one insult I wrote down was he calls her a bloodless, money grubbing freak when
It's a good one.
he's benching.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Uh-oh. Mom's mad. Bench presses. I'm going to wail on my pecs, and then I'm going to do my back.
I see you're smoking pot now. I'm so glad. I think using illegal psychotropic substances is a very positive example to set for our daughter.
You're one to talk, you bloodless, money-grubbing freak.
It's just great.
I
some
love
his,
any
like,
of the
phrases
weight
are
scenes.
Yeah, the weight scenes are so
Anytime
funny.
he goes in, and like that first time where he goes into the closet or the garage to get those like little weights, and he just like takes his shirt off, and he's just with these little
Yeah.
waves, just being like,
So going like with the title, like what do you think the title means? Because like I did realize throughout they played American Woman a couple times, and I was like, I don't know if that's like a riff on the song. Because American Woman, American Beauty, the girl, I don't know.
I mean, if I had
They never
to
said the title
guess,
though, which I was kind of bummed about. They said Beauty
That's
and they
true,
said
they did.
American, but they didn't say American Beauty.
Mhm.
We love Griffin. We love when they say the title of the movie and the movie.
yes,
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
it's
surreal. Yeah.
It just like clicks. It's like that's it.
Like, oh my god.
I just feel like I mean, if you were to take it super literally, like they talk about beauty throughout the entire movie, and it's like kind of like the American dream, but like
Right.
sucks. You know?
It's a great title. It's such a good title, like for this movie.
Yeah. So like I feel like if I had to guess, that's that makes sense to me. It's
Mhm.
like, but
Something that I realized watching this time is like, I don't have any hot takes yet, but this is kind of like it reminded me of like a crude version of like a John Hughes movie.
Yeah.
Like a weird, if the John Hughes was more like explicit, I feel like this would be it. I don't know why, but that's what I thought of.
I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
Like
Anything
Rob
else?
Zombie vibes.
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Not this time.
Or Lynn. Sorry.
It's just the American Beauty. I just think of just like weird suburbia, like
Mhm.
as Joe said, the American dream. Like everyone wants this picket fence and wife and kids, but then you go behind the scenes and it's
The shitstorm.
everyone is messed up.
yeah. There was the one scene where the wife where he was like gonna they were about to like have sex or something, but then she like got messed up about like spilling beer on the couch or something.
Mhm.
And it's just like, I don't know, I feel like Lester was just like, who cares, and I feel like it's too easy to kind of get caught up in that like picket fence, like what we have material
Well, that's
thing.
why I think like her relationship with Buddy was interesting because like she clearly wanted like she was like obviously also sexually frustrated as well as Lester. And like when they were being intimate for that second, you could tell she was into it, but then she was like, oh wait, this is Lester. I don't want to be with him anymore. But she kind of forced it because, like that classic American family, we have kids, all that stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's super interesting. But that was funny.
Like the
Buddy's
king.
character was hilarious. Yeah, the king.
But even the king had an identity crisis. That guy was messed up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I think you oscillate going back and forth of like wanting to quote unquote be normal and like fit in, like very much as traditionally it's like as a kid you want to fit in. And then
Mhm.
once you grow up a little bit, then everyone wants to start being different. And then I think you probably hit a point again where you want to be,
Right.
normal, fit in again. And then you probably hit a point where you like kind of don't care. And you're like, wait, what am I doing? I want to be weird.
Yeah.
And like, so, and it like oscillates throughout life. And then also, but
Mhm.
like, I feel like, yeah, like probably when you're at that stage, like the longer you go, you feel like there's more to lose when you want to change, so it's like,
Mhm.
it's like I want to be different, but like we have the white picket fence, the
Right.
dream, it doesn't feel right, but like, am I going to do something crazy and lose this and then be like,
I feel like
that
that's
was
kind
the
of
dream.
the journey that Lester goes on is like he has what you might consider like the perfect
Mhm.
life, but it sucks. So like he
Right.
goes and finds something that makes him happy.
And I really love that aspect of it because like I'm always trying to like personally I'm always trying to find new things in my life like to do, like that's why I like to move around because I'm like, oh, like new spot, like I don't know, I just like experiencing new things, and I feel like the suburbia life is not for me. But I loved when he worked at the fast food place Smiley's. I thought that was great.
Thank you. I'm flattered.
Smile, you're at Mr. Smiley's. Would you like to try our new beef and cheese pot pie on a stick? Just $1.99 for a limited time only?
We were just at a seminar. Buddy, this is my...
Her husband. We've met before, but something tells me you're going to remember me this time.
Whoa.
You are so busted.
You know, this really doesn't concern you.
Well, actually, Janine is senior drive-through manager, so you kind of are on her turf.
I
love
loved that scene
because I also
and the
loved it 'cause,
manager.
like, he's like, I don't want to,
yeah.
I don't want any responsibility. I was like, I respect that. Like, part of me is like, I kind of want to work at like a movie theater. It's just like mindless because like that could be fun.
Yeah.
So since we all grew up in suburbia, do you think like this kind of stuff happened? Like it probably happened all the time and
Oh,
we
yeah.
were just oblivious.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it did. Yeah. I'm actually now I think about it, I'm like trying to picture our
We grew up
town.
with some weirdos. We know.
I mean, there has to be. This has to be like
But that it's like, you know, everyone tries to hide their problems, which why? Like,
which is
like,
really
I mean,
unhealthy.
yeah, like, but like at the same time, like if you had a bunch of Lesters out there, like what would that world be like? I don't know.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are.
Scary.
There's probably a bunch of them out there. We just don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But I don't know. It's bizarre. It's such a crazy. They did reference Reanimator, which I loved twice.
I was gonna ask you about that if you knew.
Great
what-
movie.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I had no idea what it was.
Segway. That's my pick. No, it was great. I don't know. I just loved the what was I gonna say? I actually liked Ricky's character. At first, I was like kind of weirded out by him. I mean, obviously he's creepy, but I think he was a really good addition to like the story. And but also, why do film people always have to be weird? Every movie, there's like they all wear black.
they
and they're,
are.
like the creep.
See?
I mean, yeah.
Comes
that's
out and
true.
says,
Because
Yeah, like she.
what was the line where he's like, I'm just curious. I'm not.
Yeah. He said something. I'm not.
When she
Oh,
was like, you're obsessed
not,
with me.
I'm not obsessed. I'm
I'm
curious.
not
Obsessed,
obsessed.
right.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
That's so.
It's like he's like
super
a very
weird.
weirdly, you know, like that, like off-putting, charming, weird.
Right.
Where you're like, that's still not okay, but it's charming.
See,
the
I
way
don't get
he
the charming
is.
aspect of it though. Like I
Well,
do get
she-
people.
Because
she
film
was, like-
people aren't charming.
She
Okay.
was like, he's overly confident, but like in a terrifying way.
Like
Like
people
I-
love it.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, is he overly confident or is he just like happy with himself?
I don't
Yeah,
think he's
he-
happy.
Some
with
may say
himself.
that's overly confident. I don't know. No.
Because like
He
I feel like
keeps
he's the
saying that he
only
has
one
no
who like
fear.
knew who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. His character is.
I
It's like we
it
learned a
could
lot
come
about
off
him, but
creepy
like,
at times, but
oh, for sure. I mean, perfect casting. Wesley, what was his name? Wes something.
That's definitely his name.
Wes. It's Wes.
Yeah, like he's someone
something.
where you're like, his name's Wesley, and I'm like,
Mhm.
that is absolutely 100% a
West,
Wesley.
yeah.
Do you know what's crazy about his character?
He's not a Rick. Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Seth Green auditioned for that role.
There was one scene where he
Oh.
looked just like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes,
That was like
Mhm.
freaked out a bit.
it's like a
so I was
Donnie
like-
Darko kind of
Yeah.
esque. Around the same time, yeah.
Well,
Um,
he mentioned multiple times that he's not afraid of anything. And that's why he's just like, this is who I am. I've learned how beautiful life is. Why waste it? He was like a good base character to have. Because
And he
everything
had
else
that
is so
same
impressive.
concept as like Kevin Spacey's character. Like I loved when they were smoking and he just quit. I was like, that's great. Like I love that. Like I wish I could do that. Be
I
like,
think I think Lester's character literally said, "You are my hero." I think, or something like that. And
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
feel like that was Ricky's character to everyone, like to his daughter, like,
Mhm.
and I mean, he didn't. Really
and that's
have
what
much-
really sparked Kevin Spacey's character to like do what he did. Basically, I
Yeah.
feel like he's like, oh, I can do that
Oddly, I
too.
Oddly, I think the son was probably a little bit of a hero to his dad
Mhm.
because I don't know, he
Yeah.
was kind of living, his truth in a way, which even though that was misconstrued,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
Going back to that, I loved that. Like, I thought that was so clever because like I didn't expect that subplot to happen at all, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I thought he was like just like he saw him selling drugs or something, but it literally turned the page. Like, oh, it was great. I thought it was awesome, and like how it was shot, it was perfect because like Kevin Spacey's just like sitting there. It was so
Right.
good because like that could actually happen. Like people like seeing someone through a window. Like I don't know, it's like it's real.
Well, it's like the classic, like in movies or TV where like someone sees their significant other kissing someone and then they walk away, and then 2 seconds later the person pushes them off and is like, I don't want to do this, and then it's like
Right.
it's
Right.
just this, you don't see the real story.
Oh, do you know what's so bothering? Oh, you know what bothers me is when they're in movies, like people are looking for each other and they turn. Oh,
You know that movie Serendipity?
I haven't seen it.
It's literally, I forget
Well, the
forget
movie
who's in it,
title
but
it describes that
Yeah.
perfectly.
there's one scene where they're back to back, and then they
Oh,
they
God.
just don't see each other.
I hate that so
Yeah.
much. They're like,
Yeah.
To get
really growing
get
more
my-
ideas.
Richard gear. To get my Bowfinger reference in. Anyone
we have
noticed
both in every episode? So
the John Cho
I
cameo
did.
in this?
Yes.
Looking at the house. This is like, and he in Bowfinger, he's just like a random. He has like a 2-second part. He's like in a vacuum. He's like vacuuming a store when it's
Mhm.
closed, and they're
Yeah.
trying to film there. And there's this late 90s. He was in something else that popped up. Like he has all these cameos in late 90s for like 2 seconds in movies.
Also, Connection. I don't know her name, but the daughter's friend, Angela. I can't remember her actress name, but American Pie. Her and John Cho were both in American Pie, and he's got a similar cameo.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Very quick. I think it was the same year, 99.
Manis Suvari.
The-
I don't know. She's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, John Cho, man.
John
I
Cho.
love him. Cameo king. Well, there's a couple
In his
cameo
early
kings.
career.
He's up there. He's
Yeah.
up there. But,
It looks like we have 2 locations from this
we do have
one.
2 locations. We have Lester's house and Smiley's drive-through, which is also Carl's Jr. in real life. So we're not
Interesting.
sponsored, but go grab yourself a burger from Carl's Jr. They
Don't
have
grab
burgers,
yourself a burger. You got to pay us to say it. Carl's Jr. We're going to beep that out, okay? You guys want to know what it is.
Non-sponsored.
Well, it looks like both of them are in California.
Yeah, this was shot in Cali, in and around LA.
Nice.
Lester's house, is that a private home now? Or
Yeah, I mean most houses are. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go.
so
just
don't, yeah.
be courteous.
Not
Don't
like a
film
movie
at it,
film
don't.
to
Follow our
American-
location etiquette, which we have not released yet.
Yeah, what is your etiquette for these locations?
It's just like don't be a dick, basically.
Be respectful.
Because there's a house in the Breaking Bad house in New Mexico. It's people literally they built like an iron fence because too many people were going to the door and taking photos and like leaving trash and stuff. And it's like, come on. So these people literally built a fence so people can't even take a photo of it anymore. It's like so stupid.
That should be like a section on Zillow. Like if you're looking to buy a house or something, it's like, hey, this was in a movie.
Dude,
so like
We
expect
could partner with Zillow.
There you go.
And
See,
then the
there's so
price
many
would drop.
opportunities.
well, right. They're like,
But that's
eh.
why we really strive for like private property. That's like one of our big things that we try to be really like prominent on is like this is private property, like because like there's the Texas Chainsaw House from like the remake. Me and JoJo went, and it's literally in the middle of nowhere, scary Texas. Huge house, long driveway, middle of nowhere, the only house out there. And we went, and there's like a sign that said, obviously it's Texas, so they probably all have guns. And it literally had like a bunch of cameras
Or
and it said, like, do not
chainsaws.
trespass or chainsaws. But I was like, there's a photo of me, and I'm like, obviously really far away from it. But I was like, oh, I could just go take a photo real quick. And JoJo's like, they will literally shoot you if you cross this.
I still remember when we went and we stopped at that what used to be an insane asylum back in the day, Amityville near, and
Amityville,
it was
but
we
it was-
didn't realize it was converted to a prison. And we are there and
A
we're driving
working
around.
active prison.
And well, we're driving around the
Lucky.
abandoned part still, and Joe keeps being like unauthorized vehicles not allowed. And Joe kept being like, my dad's a cop. That's probably fine, right? And I was like, we are not in Rochester, man. That is we are. Please don't. And then we drove to the front of the prison, and of course, all the prisoners they like run out in the orange jumpsuits, and we don't realize it's an active prison. And so we're like, holy shit, like this is ghosts, like crazy. And then Joe was like, Joe needs a photo. So we pull up and we're like outside the gate, the giant barbed wire. And Joe gets out and he's like, take a photo of me. and we see like they spot us taking photos. And they start driving up towards the gate. And I was like, dude, we got to get out of here, man. And Joe goes, oh, like just move the car, like so they can drive through. And I was like, no, they're coming for us. I had to drive right out of there.
I was like, we're fine.
But,
we're good.
yeah.
It was pretty cool though.
Got the
I saw that photo. I'll throw the photo in here.
I wonder if they thought you were giving like inside information to like prisoners or something, or what they thought.
That's
you
what
were
I see.
doing.
They're like
delivering
taking
drugs
photos outside, and we're like, we like movies.
Something tells me that wouldn't.
No, for sure. But do you guys want to get into ratings?
Yeah, let's do some ratings. So context, Griff, we always pick a random thing from the movie as like our units, but it's just a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
And you can pick whatever, like units or whatever.
Like rose petals, joints.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Burgers.
also wondering the significance of the roses.
I know. Well, here's my thought.
I actually
Oh,
thought
yeah,
about this.
You go for it, Joe.
I think because like one, like they were everywhere, but like so there was 2 places generally they showed up is like the garden in like the front yard with his Lester's wife, and then obviously with
in her chest.
In her chest, like tub, like all those places related to like those like fantasy moments. So like a rose is beautiful, it signifies love, but it also has thorns. That's kind of what I took away from that. Is like it's like
thorn or a birch.
It's like a 2-sided thing is the way I took that.
And it, yeah, you're right. It's interesting because like whenever he sees it with the young girl, it's just the petals, but when the wife has them, she has the full thorns.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Very smart.
I thought when I saw the roses, well, I didn't realize, like, I didn't think about the front yard roses, but like, especially with the Angela, I just assumed it was kind of like, I figured she was a virgin. I didn't believe her throughout the movie, but I figured that was kind of like the flower, like taking her flower. That's kind of what I got from it. But
yeah,
feels very 1999.
Oh, 100%.
All right.
Man, I'm so bummed. There's no hot takes. I can't put the hot take button.
Please get a hot take in there quick. You've still been saving one that I'm dying to know what it is.
We're going to do, Griffin, you should be on this episode. We're going to do a hot takes, Hollywood hot takes episode where we're going to eat hot food and talk about our hot takes.
Oh, yeah, you talked about that.
Yeah,
we got to do that.
Contest.
I will say, just a side note about the hot one. I was watching Hot Ones yesterday. Malcolm Gladwell's on it. And one of the sauces in the middle, they're like, this sauce. And Malcolm Gladwell looks at the bottle and he goes, "This is made in Rochester, New York. That doesn't give it credibility." And I was like, shout out to
everyone who mentions Rochester. They're like, "Oh, there's no credibility. It's just Rochester."
Whatever.
Like,
little do they know, it's hot sauce capital of the world. Try to go to Salvatore's. So...
Like in Miracle, when he's like, "You guys look like
sauce on the menu." Oh,
love that. Okay, let's do ratings. Jesse, you go first.
Me.
You're the first one I saw.
Again, I'm a Capricorn, so take that into account.
We all have to say our signs too. How about that?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Real torn about this.
Real thorn about this.
Thorn. I'm gonna do video cassettes as a unit. Ricky's room, the old school, like just white blank room with the TV and
American Psycho
cassettes everywhere. It's gonna land in the 7s for me.
Cool. Just 7.
High 7s. I don't know why we get into decimals. It feels really complicated, but they like don't actually make any sense. So we're like 786 probably. Calculated out. It was better than I thought it would be.
That
was pretty good.
I just, even from watching the trailer, I thought it was just going to be that Kevin Spacey high school girl line. I was like, I just from the trailer was like, I don't get how this won Best Picture.
Did you watch the trailer? Did you watch the trailer before?
I watched the trailer before I watched it.
Dude, trailers used to be so bad.
It was a really bad trailer.
They're not
incredibly
good.
bad.
I'm not here. Suicide Squad really made trailers. Like 2016 is like when trailers started getting good, in my opinion.
Interesting. I wish that was a hot take.
But then that was a bad movie.
It's one of the best trailers of all time. One of the worst movies of all time.
Just watch the trailer. You'll be good. Don't watch the movie.
Sorry, go for it.
So a lot better than I thought it would be. And it was, even the more talking about it, the more I appreciate it, I think. They're like, it's like a beautifully tragic story, you know, like about life. So I don't know. Again, that I'm still super weirded out by the girl storyline. I just wish it was kind of tweaked.
Okay.
But I also get to how this probably hit really hard at home in like the late 90s. And just like with that generation, and I don't know, just with like the time period. You know, I think it's very, you know, like 99's not, it feels like a very different world, like even like with internet and time. So I get it more. I get it more now. I don't know if it's in my top 5.
It's okay.
But I appreciate it. So yeah, a 7.86. A 7.8605, you know, like
right.
Again, we always, when we do ratings too, we just always like make up these ratings and then we forget about it. So we're always like, we want to look at what we rated differently. So like Joe Cuffney always is like, did I rate this higher or lower than Spider-Man 3? I don't remember.
I mean, that was like what, an 8 for you or something? It was like an 8 something for you. So
emo Tobey Maguire is a vibe. I'm just saying.
So yeah, once we'll curate it all, we'll be very horrified by all of our reviews for everything. But I think that's complicated, still in my head, but that's where I stand.
7.86 for Jesse.
7.86.
All right, Joe.
For me, I'm going with an 8.9.
Ooh,
because
nice.
I really like when movies are like more than surface level, and this definitely fit that category. Usually that's the reason I like murder mystery style movies, but like I don't really think this is murder mystery, but it definitely had some like depth to it. And so I really liked it. I also had like I didn't watch the trailer. I had no clue what to expect. And I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. I liked the story. I think it oddly ended happy, even though it didn't really resolve anyone's, problems fully. But I think more movies should end like that. I think, not everything's always happy. So I really liked it. So it's up there for me.
Cool. Wait, what was your unit?
And my unit would be Mr. Smiley's.
Damn it,
Mr.
Joe.
Smiley.
That was mine.
Well, now you gotta think of something else.
All right, Griff.
Okay. Well, let me think.
2.
Griffin's like, I actually hate this movie.
Every second of it. Yeah, I was just lying to you guys. I actually despise this movie. No, I'd probably give it a 9. Unit. Well, I'll think of a unit at the end. So I, before the whole Spacey controversy thing, like I do love him as an actor, and it's hard because of everything that happened, but just his like dry wit and like is so enticing, like even at his job or when he, I think he breaks the fourth wall a few times and just kind of has this like, just that's like my ideal sense of humor. And it's, I appreciate the fact that he kind of goes through this transition where it's this boring suburbia life that he just realizes that life is way, more worth living. And then he just kind of figures it out. And the end as well, like I appreciate that he doesn't corrupt this girl, and he's still happy, and he realizes who he is. And I did, from the beginning, he's going to die, so you weren't really expecting anything else. But I just thought it was like a beautiful, like, I mean, there's a lot of like loose ends at the end too. Like, is the girl going to run away with the boy? What's the wife going to do?
Right.
So I don't know. I appreciated it.
So why isn't it a 10 for you?
I would say, I don't know.
Putting you
I
on the
think
spot.
it's
Not
maybe-
Spider-Man 3.
Well, so what we talk about is like like a ceiling for a certain movie could never be like we loved like Saving Private Ryan. We watched a couple weeks ago. We all loved it, but it's just not a 10 for us. Like it's
Like just not that.
there's just certain movies where it's like, I don't know. I it's hard to explain, but
yeah,
it's,
like I think like,
Not a
The
perfect
Dark
movie.
Knight is like a 10 for me, just because it's
Mhm.
there's no point where
right.
where it's slow or I'm bored. Like this, most of it, this moved pretty quickly, but there were a few like slow parts. I don't necessarily love Thora Birch's character, so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's honestly one of my favorites. It's just,
Mhm.
and I love movies set in like high school and like teen angst,
Especially in the 90s.
especially in the 90s. Yeah, before social media.
Oh,
when
I
it
can't
was
watch him now. I
very
hate him. I hate him
simple.
now. Yeah.
Very
But-
simplistic.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
Do you have like do you know like your top 5 movies? Or is it just like generally top 5? This is
I have, yeah, it's like a general, like it's Big Hero 6 is one of my favorites.
I've never seen
I have
it.
like categories, I think, like Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'll usually just say top 5 without actually having a top 5.
Well,
Yeah.
I do too. I just was, if you had 5 set, I was really curious. If you were like boom, bam, bam, bam.
Another
I'll
episode we
think
should
about
do.
it.
Another episode we should do is top like 10 or something. We should do like lists.
We'll watch all 10 of them for next episode.
That's cool. No, that's awesome though.
You should start now.
All right, I'll go. Love this movie. I've seen this a bunch. Yet still surprises me every time I watch it, even though I know it's gonna happen. Love the cast is great. Love the writing. Yeah, like you were saying, like I mean, there's nothing that I would take away from there's nothing I would take away from it. Like I think everything in it is in there for a reason. And I agree with Thora Birch's character. She's a little weird to me. For me,
That's the daughter.
yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, here's a hot
Dang.
take. I got a hot take.
Finally.
Ooh.
Allison Janney, I'm not a fan.
Just in general of her.
I don't like her.
Sound the alarm.
Wow. That's gonna cause some uproar, Joe.
I know.
Joe, we're gonna lose all our fans. What are you doing?
I will say on the poll for the Rob Zombie Lin Manuel Miranda poll, one person voted. I could see it.
And it wasn't
And
you.
it wasn't.
Wasn't
Yeah,
me.
I was like, you have
Well,
8
two.
accounts, man.
I did one of them. 2 people did yes, and I was one of them. So the other person.
All right, you get off the recording. You're revealing who this was.
Okay. Where was I? Okay, yeah. But other than that, I think I loved it. Yeah, there's nothing really else.
If you could replace Allison Janney in this movie, who would you put in?
I mean, with her character though, because her character was kind of just deadpan, like nothing.
So,
really.
Vera
do you think-
Farmiga.
I
do you
wasn't gonna
think
say
she
Vera
was-
Farmiga. She could be in everything, but
Do you think she was like meant, like, what do you think was wrong? Like, was she just super depressed, or do you think she was mentally like
I think she was
psychotic? Like,
depressed.
yeah.
I think she was depressed personally, and then she was on like some like drugs or something. That
Okay.
would made her. That's what I like. She was like sedated. That's kind of how I feel about her, that character. Let's see, but yeah, I'm gonna go 8.5. Buddy's eyebrows.
Buddy's eyebrows.
I was at an 8, but after talking with you guys, I upped it half a point because Yeah, I think it's a great movie.
Important.
I think it's a very important movie to watch. I think people should watch it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great 90s movie. I think it's
I actually understand why this won.
Segue. Trivia. I'm gonna do trivia. Quick.
Oh, I was about to say, I want to know who
Or are
beat
you
this
gonna
out.
do trivia? Yeah, I was gonna say.
No,
can
I
you
just
guys
wanted to know
name
who
the
beat
other
it out.
Best Picture nominees from '99.
That was the trivia.
Silence of the Lambs.
I will say, no, that was '90.
No, because that won Best Picture. Of
Yeah, that wasn't
Silence
that was
of the
early.
Oh,
90s.
nominees. Okay.
So you should know 2 of them at least. The other 2 you might not get.
Are
Lambs.
there
Saving Private Ryan.
No, that was 90.
Are there any
That was the
hints?
year before.
Sure, come on.
I'll give you a hint. I'm gonna get some hints.
Yeah.
One of them is a Stephen King film, and the other is a M. Night Shyamalan film.
Night Shyamalan.
The Shining.
Yeah.
That's Kubrick.
Oh.
Oh, Stephen King. It wasn't that though, and that wasn't nominated. Should have been.
It.
It's not scary.
This
It's like the Shawshank, but it's like a different. There's a color in the title.
Oh, The Green Mile.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the M. Night movie is about. It's got my boy Bruce Willis in it.
Die Hard.
Armageddon.
Pulp Fiction. Wait.
M. Night.
That's
M.
not,
Night.
that's not M. Night
Oh,
Shyamalan.
that's
Haley Joel Osment.
The Sixth Sense.
Duh.
And the other 2, I'm just going to tell you because you're not going to get them. The Insider,
That was-
which I've never heard about, and then The Cider House Rules.
Yeah.
Pretty dope. Pretty awesome movie. That's my favorite movie of all time. Cider House Rules. Okay, yeah. So 8.5 for me, and that's about it. Movie news.
We're trivia.
Me and JoJo watched $1 Million Baby for the first time 2 days ago, and I wanted to kill myself.
I've never seen it.
Don't. It's most depressing. It's in my top 3 most depressing movies of all time that I've ever seen.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
brutal.
That was
man.
a 90s Oscars nominated film.
That's
I forget
2000,
which
wasn't
year.
it? I think that's 2000.
Oh, early 2000s. Yeah.
2004. Great.
I
It was
went
really
through the
well
90s
done.
yesterday, and then I went all the way.
Yeah, it was very. I don't know. Like I don't know if I would recommend it. Like, it's cool to see Hilary Swank kick some ass, but I don't want to get. I mean, it's just made me.
You don't need to watch it again, right?
No, I'm never gonna watch it. Me and JoJo were like, we're never gonna watch that again.
Well, next week's pick is
I would not. I would refuse.
I absolutely need to bring this up with you guys. Have any of you started watching The Other Two on HBO, a TV show?
Wait, with Chase Dreams?
Yes, with Chase Dreams.
Oh yeah.
What's
Like
Chase Dreams?
I watched it a while ago.
Yeah, I just started watching that. It is this show about this kid who they got from Musically. It's like a kid who did ARC music, basically, like an
What?
overnight. And it's really about his 2 older siblings. And it's just Molly Shannon's the mom. It's so funny.
Love Molly
It's from
Shannon.
Chris Kelly and Sarah Schneider, who I love, who were head SNL writers at a time. Sarah Schneider's from College Humor. If you're ever into that, you'd recognize her. But I love that series, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. It's good.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
About it. Again, it's hard for me to watch. It's harder for me to watch TV shows. So it's one I know when I get started, a lot of times I'll like it, but like.
They're like 20-minute. You could fly.
Okay, I like that.
You could binge through the whole thing in a night if you wanted
I
to.
just can't do like the hour long
Treat it like a movie.
episodes.
You know, they're 20 minutes. They're like 21
Okay.
minutes.
It's like It's Always Sunny. I'm about it.
And it moves through things real fast.
Okay.
Here.
Cool. About it. New Jersey Shore season came out. Currently on MTV. It's pretty great. Baby Situation.
Sounds like a hot take.
Situation has a baby.
Does he have a child?
Romeo Sorrentino.
Oh,
Romeo situation.
Love him.
My
I'm
God.
not. If you guys haven't seen the new one, have you guys seen the new Jersey
No.
Shores?
I haven't watched it in like 15 years, man.
No
When
joke.
you
No joke. One of the best, if not the best, character arc of situation I've ever seen on live TV.
character,
That's a hot take.
He is. I'm not even kidding. You need to watch the new ones just because it's such an. He's like, I don't know. He's like the best person ever now. It's unbelievable.
When you got really into Jersey Shore, I
I'm
didn't
late.
even
I'm late
know
to the
it
game.
was still going. So I was so confused because I was like, is this like a nostalgic? It's coming back oddly. People are like Joe just discovered the first season of Jersey Shore, and I was so confused. And then I remember asking you, and you're like, no, it's like a current show. And I was like,
They came back. Yeah.
what?
Well, because I didn't know. I mean, I knew about it. I just never watched it because I didn't really have cable, I don't think, growing up. But JoJo's like, I'm going to show you because I don't really like reality that much. But JoJo's like, you got to watch this. And I was like, okay. And I was hooked immediately.
Watch the clip of the situation at was it the Donald Trump roast? All the writers didn't say he was like on anything. They just said he kind of like bombed because he like didn't know how to tell jokes, but he got off stage and was
awkward,
like,
dude.
he got off stage and he didn't even he kind of was like, that was good, guys, right? And all of them were like,
Like, no.
oh, and he was just like, right?
It's uncomfortable, dude.
Cool.
No, it's no, it's crazy. But yeah, it's about for me. No other movie news.
I don't have any we started watching Loki this week and it's fun.
Yeah, it's weird.
But the one I'm kind of I don't know how I feel about this, but I always really liked watching the Michael Jordan Space Jam, and that was actually the first DVD I think I ever saw, because I remember watching it on a computer. But the new one with LeBron is coming out, I think, in a week or two.
What do you
And
think about that?
I can't tell if it's going to be just really bad or I'm going to watch it regardless, but I'm really curious if it's actually good or if it's just kind of a rip off of the original one.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no expectations.
I'm
so I
not
don't know.
expecting it to be great, but I'm all for a younger generation getting their own Space Jam.
But
if that
why don't
makes
you just
sense.
make a new
Space Joms. Where it's I think we'll always be it's not the original, but the kids who grew up with this being kind of the first one, I feel we'll be this is it, and when they grow up, they'll have this to be.
My thing is why don't you just make your own different thing?
Right.
Why do you do why the same thing? Create something new.
Because it was so good, and now we're putting players they know in. They're
That's what they
Michael
do.
Jordan, who?
Oh my
Charles
god.
Barkley, whatever. You mean
Okay.
Charles Barkley? You mean
It's just I hate that they just keep refreshing the same thing, but I'm
Mhm.
also curious enough where I'll probably watch it, but
I know.
it
It gets old, but then it's but that's all the content
that's
that's out
why
right now. So
it's nice going back and watching a movie that you just I just missed American Beauty, but great movie, right?
yeah.
And just watching things you have absolutely no idea what it's supposed to be is really nice.
Mhm. That's what the first time I saw Donnie Darko, that was my first. I was like, oh, this is one of my favorite movies. This is amazing work of art.
I want to get your guys' opinion on this one. The other day,
Hot take? Hot take?
Maybe.
You're
We'll
really
see.
fishing for hot takes.
I'm really fishing for hot takes, but I'm actually curious talking about old and new versions. Is
Ooh, I'm about
the other
that.
day my nephew was in the pool, and then he got onto something of what if the pool was filled with chocolate? And my sister was like, oh, do I have a movie to show you, Willy Wonka? Because he's never seen it. And then she was like old or new one, and I was like, oh, I was thinking the old one for him. And she's like, good. I was too old for the new one kind of, but what are your guys' take on the old versus new Willy Wonka?
I don't like this.
Which one would you show to a kid?
Who wants to go first?
I would show the newer one to a kid, I think, just because the older one is terrifying to me. I mean, it's very scary and
It's
the
terrifying.
Oompa Loompas are very scary, but I appreciate the first. I think Gene Wilder is a better Willy Wonka.
Yes.
I just thought they tried to make the new one way too. Well, it was Tim Burton, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very Tim Burton-y. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I almost think of it as scarier in my head, even though I haven't seen it.
I don't know. I appreciate the original, but I think both are solid. You know, they did a good job at the remake. I just prefer.
So I just watched the remake for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Whoa.
And I really liked it, actually. I liked it almost just as much as the original. I think Freddie Highmore is a better Charlie than the other guy. Personally,
hold on.
just because I
Well,
like Freddie Highmore.
Hold
but-
up. One, you haven't
Wait.
seen this until a couple weeks ago? And it's a Freddie Highmore? I forgot it's Freddie Highmore.
I own
Yeah.
the DVD too. I just never watched it. But
You-
okay, like you were saying, the Oompa Loompas. I like the Oompa Loompas in the original, even though they're scarier. That's what I like about it. And I also like that they're not CGI'd
Yeah.
and the same person, just
Right.
duplicated. That bugs me. I like Johnny Depp, but Gene Wilder is obviously better. There were parts of the remake I actually like better. Like I like the Violet better in the new one, I think, than the old one.
I can't get past the Oompa Loompas. They
No, they ruin it for me.
the original Oompa Loompas were way better.
100%.
Where it's at. Freddie Highmore, hot take. My dad went to vet school with the kid who played
I remember
Charlie
you
in the first
saying
one, Charlie
that.
Bucket, Peter Ostrom.
Charlie
And they
Bucket.
didn't know they were in vet school, and it was like a year. It was like some long time, and they figured out he was the kid. He was Charlie Bucket, and they're like, "Hold up, you're Charlie Bucket from Willy Wonka?" And he was like,
He's probably
"Yeah."
just one and done,
He's-
right? I don't think he did anything else.
He's just a vet in somewhere in New York
Cool.
now.
Well, sorry.
And what's Freddie Highmore
better,
doing?
but-
Trying to cash in.
but- Cool.
Joe Cuffney, so
Better.
are you old?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah. Overall, I'm
All right.
old, but there's parts of the new one I like better. I like the music. The new music was terrible.
I think I'm gonna fish for hot takes just using Freddie Highmore from now on.
Let's do it.
I'll be like,
Dude, I
The
could-
Good Doctor? What did you guys
Okay.
what do you think of that?
Bad show. I did not like that show.
I thought Joe would be like, I love it, it's the best. And it'd
Is
be
that
like,
where
tried
he's like a
s-
teen doctor and like a savant or something?
yes.
He's
yeah.
I tried to like it. I really, really did. First of all, I don't like medical shows. Second of all, they're all the same. Third of all, it's just not a good show.
There you go. Signed, sealed, delivered.
Is that a wrap, you guys, or anything else?
That's all I got.
I don't know. I feel like we should. Now if I listen to a podcast thing, I start being like, I feel like we should have a corrections part of the podcast. Not actually. I mean, it was a small thing. I just realized I said Elijah Daniels instead of Andrew Reynolds for Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
And I was like, I probably say stuff like that all the time.
Well, I tried it like every time I hear like something, if one of us says like a fact, I'll like look it up to make sure, or I'll just cut it out. But
Just beep it out.
sometimes I forget. You beep it out, not cut it out.
Oh, we got a pick for next week.
Oh yeah, duh. Joe, you got to pick.
Oh yeah, big.
Real quick, Bo Burnham Inside. We're gonna do
We're
that.
going
Ooh, you're gonna do
inside.
it. It's so good.
Get ready for me to ramble for hours, guys.
I'm super ready for that. I'm like, Jesse's. I
Also-
just want Jesse to talk the entire podcast. Joe and I'll just.
And it'll be me just repeating. I've listened to Bo Burnham talk for hours and hours and hours. It's gonna be just like
And we're
I-
gonna have another guest. We're gonna have Dion.
D.
not the movie I
Um,
thought she'd be the first guest on, but
No, me
I'm all
neither.
for it.
No.
Well, have you watched Inside too, by the way?
About 4 times, yes.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm so
It's
glad everyone's
amazing.
loving it.
Dude, it's I said this. I mean, I will say this again on the show, but I said they should show that in film school.
They should.
It's literally a work of art.
Yeah, I mean, I sent you guys in the Slack. There's a guy who literally goes through and he's like, this is how he lights it. You can see this light, and he pulls it up on Amazon. He's like, you get it for like $50.
All the film
You know,
nerds
and then
are
he
like,
goes
oh,
back.
they use that. Yeah.
Yeah, and but he goes through it and you're like, oh, I don't even had no interest in doing this. And I watched, it's like a 47-minute video and I watched a good part of it, just being like, oh, interesting. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
but
excited.
especially if you're, yeah.
Cool.
All righty.
That is a wrap.